and I'll wait. And even if it's 10 seconds, like I'm not going to be the first one to answer my own question.
So let's get into it then. If let's say that we are an overtalker, and as you guys are sharing, like I know that I do this too, and I have a tendency to do this as well in group. So let's say us ourselves, we are the overtalker of the group, or we know that we're like that. How can we improve? How can we stop talking so much, and how can we, really move away from monopolizing the time in group?
Yeah, that takes some self-awareness. So if you haven't listened to the self-awareness episode,
That's right.
it really does. I mean, it's that humility piece of you might need to ask your group members for help, saying, I'm noticing that I'm going off track. I've even done that as a leader. After I get back from a conference, I remind myself by teaching these things that I'm advice giving or I'm oversharing. And so I'll come back after a conference and say, hey, I need to rein in my own behaviors a little bit, even though I'm the leader. And so giving people permission to help keep you on track, to help you remember to read what you wrote, to answer the questions. But really, the best thing that you can do is just remind yourself to read what you wrote, to allow yourself to have that time during the week where you're processing and making all those connections and articulating it down on paper. And then during group, you read what you wrote. And so even just that simple reminder, I'm only going to read what I wrote. And that way I'm going to really think about what I'm writing during the week. And that's it. And then, of course, ask for help if you need it.
Yeah, I agree that sometimes it's just in humility saying to your group, hey, I've led groups a lot, and sometimes I love to try to share my experience to help you guys, but would you be honest with me? Am I doing that too much? Am I sharing in a way that sometimes makes you fearful to tell a story because I'll offer advice? I really want to find that balance between leading the group well and using my experience to our benefit, but not making it all about me. And so that can be a little scary to ask, but I think in humility we need to as the leader. And another tool that we have found, especially on the group check-in time, is just having that timer of, hey, there's 6 people in group. We want to get through this in 30 minutes, or maybe it's 40, so everyone has 5 minutes. And making sure that you as a leader follow the same guidelines to say, I don't get bonus time just because I'm the leader. I'm going to share my check-in the same amount of time as everybody else. And one final thing that I have done, because I've been in group a lot, and I always want to say something, or there are points in the group where I will really consciously be thinking, okay, whatever happens, I'm not going to be the first one to talk. Mm-hmm. So for an example might be when a group member is sharing their check-in that maybe they've had some unique issues come up, or you just see some holes in their story and you're ready to like, hey, could I ask you a question? Right. I'll just say, you know what, I'm going to wait. And I'm not going to talk first. I've been pleasantly surprised how many times someone else in the group will go, oh, do you mind if I ask you a question about your check-in? And then they take that lead.
Yeah, that's good.
And so if I just have that discipline internally to say, okay, I'm not going to be the first one to talk. Mm-hmm. As you review a page, I'll turn to our lesson and say, hey, what'd you guys get out of page 176? And I'll wait. And even if it's 10 seconds, like I'm not going to be the first one to answer my own question. I'll wait until someone else chimes in. So just being patient sometimes to wait and not fill every space. Because I think that's what we can get into as leaders, just feeling like if there's a dead space, I'll jump in and fill it to make everybody okay. Sometimes a person is just processing and they need time to be the one to speak up. So take a deep breath, count to 10 in your head and let others jump in. And I think that'll create a healthy group dynamic.
Yeah, I think something too, and this maybe might help. I'm just thinking of practically if you're that person in group, that if you do feel like you need to have, because here's what happens. If we realize we're the over talker, then what we can do is we can tend to swing the full other direction. Like, okay, I'm not going to overshare at all. I'm not going to actually share much at all. And so I think that maybe in that you might be able to open it up and say, hey, I've got something I'm thinking about. Do you guys mind if I just share a little bit and we can talk through it? And if it really is something that's significant and you feel safe with these people, it's probably something you guys can spend some time talking about, where I'm going to open up for a couple minutes and then you guys ask some questions and help me process through that. Because there still should be a part of group that is flexible enough to allow those spaces. It's just when that becomes something that's regular every single week, that's a problem. But just open it up. Allow other people to give you permission to share a little bit more if you feel like you're in that space and need it.